Good evening, people. Welcome to another edition of Mutant of the Day. Another top three Arsenal Mutant Twitter quotes for you guys today. And once again, number one, honestly, just number one is just quite incredible, but you won't be surprised. I don't think anybody who's tuning into my channel, who knows me, who's seen me on podcasts, who's heard me talk before about Arsenal is going to be surprised to see what's at number one. But in of itself, it is quite abysmal. However, we will get to number one soon. Starting without further ado, at number three, we have Adam Keys. Adam is somebody who I've spoke to quite a lot about injuries, about how we manage injuries and how we manage the return of players. He seems quite adamant. He is quite adamant that we have a very well strategized, well thought out way of reintegrating injured players back into the team, which is obviously why we get so many recurring injuries, right? And case in point, here we have Kai Havertz. His tweet, I quote, "Kai Havertz has started 3 games in 10 days. He got a goal and 2 assists in those, and Arsenal scored 10. The narrative had shifted from a struggling attack to one that was clicking. His intelligence, dueling, running power, and technical quality elevates, I think that's supposed to say, everyone. Vital." End quote. Vital. Key, aka Arsenal says. Maybe the K stands for key. But he really does like Havertz, apparently. We've been saying it for almost 3 years, Keys says. Clearly we can be seeing that there's clearly be seen immense improvements of Gyökeres. Yeah, he scored a couple of goals. He's already scored 6 goals. That took him to 8 goals. I'm not sure what you're exactly saying by immense improvement. Basically, Havertz was just passing to him, which kind of what is everybody saying. What's everybody's been saying, what everyone has been saying, I will actually say that right at the end of the day. Yeah, he joins things up. Who knew? Yeah, 280k a week to join things up. Sort of seems like he's getting away with it a little bit, doesn't it? Because when you reflect back on the past few years, what's he won? When he has been fit, what's he won? Yeah, he scored a few goals. We haven't won anything. And people will say, oh, yeah, so he scored a goal in the Champions League final for Chelsea. What's he done for Arsenal? He's not done anything for Arsenal. And now he's probably going to get a pay rise because because he already was on 280k, and because everyone seems to love him for some reason, which really hasn't been clarified. I really don't see why our fan base these days have got such low standards for this football club, disrespecting this football club. Let's be clear, there's a lot of disrespect for this football club and the former players. If you're going to lord up a player like this, when we've grown up looking at watching Dennis Bergkamp, looking at Henri tear teams apart, and you want us to rate Kai Havertz? Yeah, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Look at Spike here. Now we are back to square one. Just because Havertz is injured. Square one. What does he mean by square one? 6 years ago? What does he mean by square one? And this is a guy with 37,000 followers, nearly 2,000 likes, 25,000 views. It's really kind of crazy, to be honest. Arsenal therapy as well. Is this guy Curtis? Has he stolen that idea from Curtis? I don't know. I'm imagining it's not quite the same. I'm imagining it's not got quite the same sort of vibe to it. But yes, anyway, on to number 2. I mentioned him earlier, AK Arsenal. He quoted there on the previous one. Kai Havertz is key. He said it 3 times. His tweet in at number 2. Quote, this is regarding Trossard and the head injury, by the way. Quote, he's holding his whole head with both hands. It isn't about point of impact always. It's about brain movement. None of it is funny. And I'd be saying the exact same thing about opposition opponents. It isn't funny, end quote. He has to say that twice just to really hammer that home harder than the actual impact, by the way. So the reason I bring this up, people may think, oh, well, it's a little bit cruel or mean to bring this up about Trossard. No. So this whole thing has been blown out of all proportion, and now fans like this are latching onto it as just another excuse, just another reason to say, oh, look at us, we're victims of people being unjustifiably critical of us and all this kind of stuff, and we're not little cheats, we're not little whinging crybabies. Oh, no. That goes in the face of all the evidence that we've seen over the past God knows how many years of the fact that we just fall to the ground all the time. It's not traditional Arsenal standard. Let's face it, would Tony Adams do this shit? Would Paul Merson do this shit? Ian Wright? This is absolute nonsense. And this guy, in fact, I'm just going to put here a little reply. AK saying he's been fighting about this all morning on another post. He had to mute it in the end because he's weak-minded. So I'm going to put this, we get the science behind it. It's just the impact is so small, because it really is. If you look at the replay, it really is such a light impact. It makes you wonder, should he ever actually play football again? If he's going to be if he's going to be so adversely impacted by such a small brush, because it was a brush, he brushed his shoulder against kind of like the top of his neck stroke jaw. And yes, I understand that concussion can happen if you get hit in the jaw, but we're talking about like when you get hit by a full on fast, hardcore, direct hit, a proper run hit. This is just kind of leaning in with a little bit of force. He leant in, put a little bit of force into the leaning in, and he knocked Trossard. And Trossard's about like 5 foot tall anyway, so he went over. But I mean, we don't expect our players to just literally collapse at the ground and die at the feet of the opposition when they just get a little shoulder barge. That's essentially what it was, a little shoulder barge. Maybe he caught his jaw. But if you're going to be affected by this to that degree, to the degree that you're going to get concussed, or you have to come off, or you have to use a concussion substitution, which is kind of the reason we did it, basically. At the end of the day, we did it to get the substitution on. Then should you be playing football? Should you be playing any contact sport? I'll be very worried. If this is an actual genuine thing that's happened, I'll put my genuine hat on and say I will be very worried. A genuine doctor hat, my clinical hat. I will be genuinely worried about the welfare of this player going forward if this kind of impact is the sort of thing that's going to make him collapse to the ground and need to be substituted off with a concussion substitution. Anyway, time for the last one. Numero uno by far, the Führer. The fury of the Führer. This is quite beautiful in its absurdity. Utter, absurd, delusional, cultist love. L. Ron Hubbard standard. I'm just going to quote it. Quote from the Führer. Not a single real Arsenal fan hates you, Mikel Arteta. We are all with you and will continue to be with you. We love you so very much. Good luck on Sunday at Mate Arteta. Heart. He's even atted Arteta into this. That's kind of how far gone these people are. He really actually wants, what he's wanting here is Arteta to see this and reply, and to give him validation, and to give him the lovely, funny feeling in his tummy that he craves so much from the most handsome Spaniard we know. This guy probably created that banner. He probably has other banners. He probably has a whole house full of Arteta pictures, like that episode of Alan Partridge where he goes around to the fan's house and just goes into a room and discovers wall-to-wall Partridge photos. That's what Führer has got at his gaff. He has got a room dedicated to Mikel Arteta. It really is frightening, actually, and kind of sad. If I'm being honest, and I'm obviously banching, I'm taking the piss a little bit, but it's kind of sad. I mean, Gunnar King, this is a guy who does a load of mutant shit as well. We wouldn't be here without you. Let me just put a little reply. Stop disrespecting my Arsenal FC. Boom. Because that's what these people do. They're disrespecting this club because they believe that it is some sort of monumental achievement to have Arsenal Football Club in second place. Bear in mind that this is the bare minimum. Top 4, no trophy, is the bare minimum for Arsenal Football Club. And a lot of these people, they just don't have the knowledge of the club, which in of itself is insulting, because you've got Google, you can actually do a little bit of research. This is another thing for another time. This is another video. But what really annoys me about the modern Arsenal fan is they don't even put any effort in to look at the history of the club. Oh my God, there's iShow Speed. I should probably get off the screen quite quickly because nobody really wants to see that. But yeah, he is a sad little gimp, and it is an incredibly weird post, and people are losing hope. But this guy, Führer, with his nearly 3,000 followers, and he's called himself Führer. It's quite funny he's called himself Führer and then has a picture of Mikel Arteta, and I think that's Max Dowman on the bench as well, isn't it? Jesus Christ, can you imagine if Arteta gets his claws properly into Max Dowman? We may be fortunate enough, if Arteta doesn't win anything this season and then goes, we'll probably be fortunate enough to avoid Arteta getting his little Spanish claws into what is probably potentially one of the greatest young talents that we could have unearthed since Wilshere. And on that bombshell, we will leave it right there. A new episode will be appearing tomorrow, of course, same time. But for now, Führer, you are today's ex-mutant of the day.